Good morning, happy people. My name is JSong. Everything in today's video is never financial investment or trade advice of any kind. Everything's just for entertainment, educational, and comedic purposes only. I eat red crayons for breakfast. Trading the markets carries substantial risk. Never trade more than you can afford to lose, and especially be aware against high leverage trading. Past performance is never indicative of future performance. And we're going to begin today's chart room with our daily reading. We're going to be continuing with the book of Revelations. It's been reading a chapter of the Bible every one of our meetings, so we're coming to the second half of the book of Revelations. And I saw a beast rising out of the sea, with 10 horns and 7 heads, with 10 diadems on its horns, and blasphemous names on its heads. And the beast that I saw was like a leopard. Its feet were like a bear's, its mouth like a lion's mouth. And to it the dragon gave his power and his throne and great authority. One of its heads seemed to have a mortal wound, but its mortal wound was healed, and the whole earth marveled as they followed the beast. And they worshipped the dragon, for he had given his authority to the beast. And they worshipped the beast, saying, "Who is like the beast, and who can fight against it?" And the beast was given a mouth, uttering haughty and blasphemous words. And it was allowed to exercise authority for 42 months. It opened its mouth to utter blasphemies against God, blaspheming his name and his dwelling, and those who dwell in heaven. It was also allowed to make war on the saints and to conquer them. And authority was given to, and all authority was given it over every tribe and people and language and nation. And all who dwell on the earth will worship it. Everyone whose name has not been written before the foundation of the world in the book of life of the Lamb who was slain. If anyone has an ear, let him hear. If anyone is to be taken captive, to captivity he goes. If anyone is to be slain with the sword he must be slain. Here is a call for the endurance of and faith of the saints. Then I saw another beast rising out of the earth. It had 2 horns like a lamb, and it spoke like a dragon. It exercises all authority of the first beast in its presence, and makes the earth and its inhabitants worship the first beast whose mortal wound was healed. It performs great signs, even making fire come down from heaven to earth in front of people. And by the signs that is allowed to work in the presence of the beast, it deceives those who dwell on earth, telling them to make an image for the beast that was wounded by the sword and yet lived. It was allowed to give breath to the image of the beast, so that the image of the beast might even speak, and cause those who would not worship the image of the beast to be slain. And it causes all, both small and great, both rich and poor, both free and slave, to be marked on the right hand or the forehead, so that no one can buy or sell unless he has the mark. That is, the name of the beast, or the number of its name. This calls for wisdom. Let the one who has understanding calculate the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. And this is where we get information about the buy or sell, the endurance of the saints during this season of time that you wouldn't be able to take place in normal market without having to receive this beast. To me, I said I was going to refrain from deep commentary on the Book of Revelation. There's so much routes a person can go when it comes to the Book of Revelation. But I will say one thing specifically. When I read the part about the image and making fire coming down from heaven, and yet it says the word deceive, it tells me that this is most likely a trick. I was made privy to a meeting by top government officials from some, let's just say it's very close to first-hand account. Okay, very close to first-hand account. That's all I can say. Where the technology to make fire come down from heaven was explained to me in detail. And basically, it's similar to laser technology weapons, but the way that it's done is very unique. It's very unique, and it has the power to be done, and it has been done upon the earth. And I see things like that, and I think to myself, this is, if that was used in this way, combined with an image that talks, I'm thinking it's either going to be some type of version of AI that will be pointing towards the beast, which is some speculate as a type of empire that was and is to come, and will come back, similar to the book of Daniel, where it talks about similar things. And there's a lot within that whole section, but basically there's going to be a power that will be given to the image of the beast, so that it will cause them to worship the beast. And we have lots of different technologies by which this can happen. We have Project Bluebeam, which describes the holographic type of technology that can even speak sound right directly into a person's brain, where they'll think they're actually talking with God, because you'll hear a voice in your head, but it's really just a type of sound technology. And this technology has been existing already on the earth, and it was demonstrated even in most recently with in the last few years with billboards for in certain countries for a scary movie. They were actually testing it. The billboard would have a scary movie playing on the billboard, but in your head you would hear sounds as if they were coming from your own head, and the voices would say, "What's that? What's that? Oh my gosh, huh? What's happening?" And it would whisper sounds to you, and people would turn around saying, "Where's the sound coming from?" But the way that it done it, they can project it right into your head. So these type of experiences where you see images in the sky, whether physical beast or just manifestations of an image of a beast or an image that is talking, it is said that many such ways is how the saints will be deceived. I heard it said years ago that the plan for the blue beams is to broadcast a major form of religion in every country around the world, and that image will say something like it'll be Jesus in the West, and it'll be like Muhammad in certain parts of the world, and Buddha in other parts of the world. And what will happen is these images will come into the sky, and you'll see them begin to talk, and they'll begin to say things like, "Oh, you got it wrong, like I wanted everybody, and you twisted the scriptures, and this is what I really meant." And eventually all those images and those holograms in the sky that look very real with color, by the way, they will translate into one singular image, whatever image that might look like. And that is the image by which, going forward in that system, or the beast system, this will be a way to deceive mankind. The deception on this level is beyond anything that we have seen, I believe, even throughout history. Isolating this section of the scripture, if this is how it is or how it was, this is going to be something that I believe is going to need some advanced technology to make it happen, such as the mark. If you follow Illuminati type of groups in the occult, they'll tell you often how it's been is that they've always been ready for whenever the Antichrist would step into play in his powerful role. They always are ready with somebody in the lineage of the person who's supposed to be the Antichrist, and you people are never privy to it. They're also always ready to go with the technology that comes forth from it, which is a type of in the 70s it used to be like a type of microchip that was the size of a grain of rice that's inserted in your hand. Every year or every few years there's a new iteration of it. In the recent times it had been a type of tattoo. Now it is said that the type of mark is actually something that's a patch that goes on your hand, and the patch releases a type of something that alters your DNA. Your very DNA has something to do with, similar to possibly an mRNA technology where it alters you, and no longer will they be just using needles or anything, but they'll just offer you a thing. And that what it does is it biohacks you for one, but it also allows you to have your DNA constructed where you can just use your very presence to activate and be part of the system, such as some of you who have heard about the B system working in such a way where it would be linked to your DNA. And I do believe all of those things will come. I know there's a lot of people that just say, well, since the devil's going to be playing a big part and it's linked to cryptocurrency, we're just going to stay away from it. My response to people who have those types of concerns would be to put away your dollars as well and throw away all your cash and make sure you burn it all, because it's part of the B system in a way. If you look at it, it's part of a fiat system that God despises. He abhors false weights and measurements, and we've been printing without false weights, without true standard weights for a long time. Since the 60s, we've gone off the gold standard. If you turn on your bill, your dollar bill, on the backside there's a pyramid that says Nuevus Aurum Seclorum, which is translated to basically New World Order. So to get rid of dollars sounds silly, right? I'm being sarcastic, of course. The reason I'm being sarcastic is because the enemy's always going to try to take place and use and manipulate the mammon of mankind, the god of the money, so to speak. He's always going to manipulate money itself and the flow and outcome of it. He's always going to try to do some. In Egypt's days, they were used for idols, but they were given later on and melted down for something that was actually proper. Even though the Israelites made another idol out of it, Moses melted it down into powder that the people would drink, which some say is a type of interesting technique. Now, that's what the scripture tells us. My thoughts is there's really no escaping the system in that sense that it's coming. So use as the scripture tells us in this scripture, and I'll give it to you here. And it tells us in Luke chapter 16, this is coming from Jesus, 16 verse 9, it says, "And I tell you, make friends for yourself by means of unrighteous wealth, so that when it fails, they may receive you into eternal dwellings." Will the wealth fail? Of course it will fail one day. The system of the world is going that direction, but not yet. If there's still time, use that wealth and then transfer that later on into gold and silver. That might be something that might be considered. Otherwise, translate it into other types of wealth that will have a purpose, something that you can barter with, and all of that wealth use and transfer for godly purposes, so that it will be welcome into eternal dwellings. Meaning, use the money for something, use the wealth for something. Don't be afraid to use your dollars, and don't be afraid to purchase cryptocurrency just because they're part of the beast system. It's always been like that. Look whose insignia is on the back of the wealth. Even Jesus at one time said, "Tell me about the money system, Peter. Are the sons exempt?" And he told the story to Peter. And he says, "Are the sons exempt from paying taxes?" And Peter said, "Yes, the sons are exempt." He said, "Yes, that is true. But nevertheless, so that we don't cause a ruckus or a stir, or so that we don't offend, go ahead and go get a fish and open the first mouth of the fish that you find, and you'll find the gold coins that are in there, and then use that to pay the temple tax, or the tax that was from there." And he paid that tax. And when they asked him about things more specifically, and this is the last thing I'll say regarding these matters, when they asked him specifically, he said, "Whose insignia is on the back?" And he said, "Caesar's," they said. And he says, "All right, well then give to Caesar's what is Caesar's, and give to God what is God's." There is a blending of the two worlds, the worldly system and God's system. You understand? So when it comes to the events of like the book of Revelations, when it comes to these types of things, we got to understand that yes, there is a carryover. There is a blending of the two types of systems. And you would do well to take advantage of that while the seasons are in your favor. There's a time that the wealth is in Egypt, there's a time that it's transferred to the people, and there's a time that has to be taken out of Egypt. There's a time that they have to be removed themselves out of Egypt. If you look at and you're trying to connect things with wealth transfer events, God's system is a lot like that. If the people in his body doesn't have the power or the wealth, then they have to get the wealth transferred, and then they have to do something with it. They have to move it away, and then they have to continue being faithful with what is happening. And that's the most important thing. You cannot make the money into an idol. So anyway, those are some comments I wanted to say regarding the book of Revelations, chapter 13. If you're if you're watching this clip on YouTube, this is our website, patreon.com/_7. This is our schedule. You can go ahead and take a screenshot. It's also in the link of the description. Thanks for everybody who supports us with your tithe and offering to our ministry. We're about to go into ChartRoom, and in ChartRoom we're going to be covering a few cryptos for today. If you guys want the live link, if you're in part of our community on our website, you'll get the link to every single one of our meetings. So we meet 3 times a week. So if you guys want to know what's been happening in the markets, what's going on in the most important areas, we have lots of areas we find on certain charts that let us know what's happening to the markets, and we talk about that Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday in our live session. And you always get the first Saturday of every month free. The first Saturday of the month is coming up, so if you guys want to join us and you're a free member, you'll be invited to our all Patreon day. We'll be right back. To begin, remember, this is never a financial investment or trading advice. It's always for entertainment and comedic purposes only, not medical advice of any kind. We'll be right back to begin.